about to hear a revolution in talk radio, Liberty Talk Radio, where the critical thinking will defrag your mind of propaganda-ridden viruses induced by mass media news programming. No BS here, just the facts.
And now we present to you America's quintessential iconoclastic anomaly. Wow. In talk radio, your host, Joe Cristiano.
What we have here is a simple, plain failure to communicate. I say that because this week it's been a very interesting week in that I had broached this subject off the air of the living wage. And what was truly surprising is that everyone was in concert with me. Everyone agreed with my position. However, comma, with a but or however, comma, it seems that they don't fully understand what the issue is. They feel that there is, in fact, something wrong. They agree with me, but their reset goes to, but we have to help these poor people. What about those people who don't have enough money and they have children at home? They keep on resetting, basically, to the emotional side of the issue. Now, folks, the reason why we do not understand the living wage issue, and as much as it has been discussed on mainstream television, is that we are discussing an economic issue. The living wage issue is not, and let me repeat, you're going to hear this once, not an economic issue. It's a moral issue. I want that to sink in your head. It is not an economic issue. It is a moral issue. When you see, go to a play, for example, you see people presenting the show. You know, the good guy, the bad guy, the villain, all this other stuff, you know, supporting people on the stage. You tend to identify with each one of those people. You think you know the people on the stage. You empathize with some you don't empathize with. But you see, folks, that is really not where the play takes place. The play takes place behind the scenes. The dozens and dozens and dozens of people who make that happen. So when we have a tendency to sympathize with someone on the stage, we are sympathizing with an inanimate object, a character that truly does not exist. And this is how we have treated the living wage or minimum wage issue. And by the way, the living wage and minimum wage is in fact the same issue, and they're both moral issues. Let's see if we can run through this so that you can better understand where I'm coming from. You see, everyone in this world, including myself, has a certain amount of normalcy bias with them. For example, whatever happened yesterday and happened today, I project through tomorrow. We cannot, for example, foresee what technology does for us or will do for us, because what it has done for us yesterday and today, it will do for us tomorrow. We could never conjure up the idea of having an internet where people were talking to each other on these handheld smartphones, and literally their life centers around smartphones. 5 years ago, that was incomprehensible. You see, your normalcy bias tells you that what will happen tomorrow is what is happening today. Now, people who have been in a difficult situation but have been bailed out in one way, shape, or form. For example, you'll have a person who goes to school. No, wait, let me back up a little bit. Let me back up to the school system. When you graduate high school, what are you capable of doing? What skills do you have? Why would anyone want to hire you? Well, the answer to that question is you don't have any skills. You've been through school. Our school system doesn't prepare you for anything. When you're in school, does our school system tell you that you need to know these things to do these type of jobs? No. You just sit, obey, you memorize, take the test, and you graduate. And then when you graduate, you are on your own. Now, people who graduate with poor marks and people who don't graduate are basically in the same category. They have nothing to offer an employer. Do I blame the school system? You bet I do. And I'm not going to get into that, but I do blame the school system. Not the individual teachers, but the system itself. Now, when you're in school, I do not expect young people to say, oh, I'm thinking about my future while I'm taking this test. I don't expect them to do that. That's why we have adults to help guide them. Are they there? No. Are they at home as well? No. So when a student graduates high school, they're like a ship in the middle of the sea without a sail, have no idea where to go. But what is the first thing that they do? Well, they attempt to get a job. Now, do they say, well, I'm going to get a job as an engineer? No, they have the skills. They have to go back to school to become an engineer. Now, the real crime here is when we allow them to enter college, go into debt, and take the same stupid subject they took in high school at a higher level. And then when they graduate college, guess what? They have skills to do nothing. And, unless you become a CPA, an accountant, unless you become an engineer or doctor or something like that. But 90% come out, can't do anything. So what do? They look for a job. And then when they look for a job, they find out that no one wants to hire them because they have nothing to offer. You see, either you believe in the free enterprise system or you do not. If you believe in the free enterprise system, you cannot believe in the free enterprise system as people believe in the minimum wage issue or agree with me saying, I agree with you, but. I agree with the free enterprise system, but we have to help those people who are, the underlings of society. Either you do or you don't. Now, a person who goes to school elects not to learn, lives in a household that doesn't encourage learning. When they graduate, they really are not hireable. They are part of the hardcore unemployable. Now, what type of company in this world would hire someone like that? My company won't. I wouldn't. But you know who would? Walmart. Think about that. Just think about that. I'll be very honest with you. I don't want to hire these kids, and not at $7.25 an hour to start. Most likely they won't stay. They have no stick-to-itiveness. But Walmart takes that gamble. You see, this is a moral issue. This is something people not taking responsibility for themselves. My grandfather, for example, and I think I've mentioned this before. Now, he was born in the late 1800s. And he used to tell me when I was a kid, and of course he made no sense at all at that time. He would say, Giuseppe, remember, before you go out to eat. I said, hey, screwball. But you have to understand where he was coming from. You see, when he was young, and when he was young, the one commodity that was in short supply was food. In fact, if you ate, you were in good shape. If you just ate, forget about having all the luxuries of going to Six Flags over Texas. If you ate, you were in good shape. See, his normalcy bias was, yesterday I almost starved. Today I had I had to beg for food, or I had to work just for food. Tomorrow, what is tomorrow going to be like? It's going to be more of the same. Now, the people today say, well, I sort of made through. I'm married or I'm unmarried, and I have 2 kids, and we have the government does this for us, and the government does that, and we have food stamps, and we sort of made it. We can eke by, and so tomorrow will be the same. No one thinks that things actually can get worse. They just assume they're going to get better because they're existing. And there's the moral issue. The moral issue is that people are not taking responsibility for themselves. When in fact a person knows that they have a monetary problem, they may be a single mother with 2 or 3 kids. They know they have a severe problem. Now, should we help those people? I don't know. I guess we should, but you know who should help them? The church that they belong to, the social agencies, the private social agencies, but not anyone else. You see, these people should have, when in fact they graduated high school and they knew, and they had no kids at the time, and they knew they had no skills and they couldn't get employed, why did they have children? Well, everything was okay yesterday, so it'll be okay tomorrow. You see, with my grandfather, they wouldn't do that because things were so difficult. They were very conservative in everything that they did. They didn't have children when they didn't have any money, no means of support. When they didn't have a solid job, they didn't do anything. Today, we do things and then we expect someone else to support us. There's your moral issue. We shouldn't be talking about the minimum wage, whether it should be $7.25 an hour, $8.50, $10, $15, $25. Immaterial. What we should be discussing is the individual responsibility that people must take for themselves in a free enterprise system. When that person decides to have the second child and not have a husband, right? That's a decision that that person made. Now, because that person winds up as a single mom with 3 kids, why would we ask Walmart to bail her out? Why does Walmart saying, well, we only pay $7.25 an hour, but, since you don't have a husband, you have 3 children, we'll pay you what you really need, and that's $32.50 an hour. Would that make any sense to you? No. Now, here's the real kicker. Oh, wait, we have a break soon?
2 minutes.
2 minutes, okay. So what we don't look at, like when we look at a play, we look at the actors on the stage. We don't look at how that play actually took place, how it evolved. And those are the people behind the curtain. You have to look behind the curtain. When that person graduated, they knew they had no skills. They knew that they could not find a job or ever hold a job that paid well. Now, knowing that, what should that person have done? At that point, in the very beginning, when they first graduated high school, and they were single with no attachments, what do you think they should have done? What was the responsible thing to do? Well, obtain a skill, become independent, save your money, maybe go back to school with some special skills or whatever, and work your way up so that you don't start at $7.25 an hour. But when they say, well, I can do anything I want, somehow I'll make it, and here's the funny part. We have people saying, well, Joe, you're just a negative person. You're a doom and gloomer. These people are positive about the future. No, they're not. No, they're fooling themselves. They're not positive about the future. There is no future for them. What they're doing is they're relying on other people to make their future the way they perceive it should be. There is your moral issue. Let's take a break. All we want to talk about is look how much Walmart pays. Oh, I pick on Walmart because that's the one in the news. Take any company. I don't care what it is. I'll say Walmart because it's easy for the sake of this broadcast. But let's walk through a typical interview. All right? A person is basically skillless, right? And they have they're financially they're not in good shape whatsoever. They come to Walmart for a job. All right? They fill out an application. Now, number one, no one forced them to go to Walmart to look for a job. No one forced them to fill out an application. No one forced them to take an interview with Walmart. No one. Now, when they sit down, they review the application, and then if it appears that they would be an acceptable candidate for the company will explain to them what the job entails. They'll say, well, you'll be in the stock room, or you'll be a checkout person, and you'll be working somewhere between 20 and 30 hours a week, or whatever the case may be, and it starts at $7.25 an hour. Now, at that point, the person who is applying for the job if they thought that that amount of pay is entirely inadequate for their needs, what should that person say? That person should say, well, wait a minute, I'm qualified also to this, and that. Is there a job that I can fulfill there and make more money? And maybe they would reconsider. But typically that doesn't happen. They say it's $7.25 an hour. Now, the person has a choice. A person can take the job or not take the job. Now, if the person doesn't take the job, I don't blame them. It's not enough money. They'll have to think of something else to do because they need more than $7.25 an hour gross. But if they take the job, and after they take the job, they hit the streets and complain they're being underpaid, they are being immoral because they lied when they took the job. They're saying, yes, this is acceptable to me. That's what they say when they take the job. This job is acceptable to me. Then once they're hired, they hit the streets and they say, Walmart is unfair. Wait a minute. Now, if Walmart say, we're going to pay you $30 an hour, then they got the paycheck and it was $7.25 an hour, I'd say Walmart did it wrong. But no, they said, this is exactly what we're going to do. Here's your pay. Here are your benefits, if any, depending on the number of hours you work, and this is what you could expect in the near future. Would you like this job? Would you like this job? And let me say it again. Would you like this job? And the person says, yes, I would like that job. What seems to be the problem? Why did anyone take the streets? They should have taken to the streets before they took the job at Walmart and found a better job. They should have gone home and assessed their situation and say, how could I develop skills and what could I do that earns more money than $7.25 an hour? Who is responsible for that? Is that Walmart? I don't think so. You see, Walmart's not being immoral as that it's being painted. It's actually the employee that's being immoral. But this country is so gabardosed in the head, it drives me crazy. We always take, the guy, the individual go, oh, look at the poor person. Oh, look at big Walmart. Oh, how could they do that? Oh, because we're stupid. We don't want to think. We don't want to know what the hard facts are. We don't want to know someone has been totally irresponsible, couldn't find a job anywhere. I mean anywhere but Walmart. And then when Walmart offers them a job that has the potential to having benefits, et cetera, down the road, you know what? They take it, but then they take to the streets and say, Walmart is unfair. No. Walmart, let me suggest that Walmart should be taken to the streets. And by the way, I'm no lover of Walmart. I want you to know that. I have no stock in Walmart. I don't give a damn. I'm no lover of Walmart at all. But Walmart, in this case, should take to the streets with signs saying, employees unfair. They lied. They lied during the interview process. They promised that they would work for $7.25 an hour, and now they're not. They're taking to the streets. They're liars and cheats, and they would be correct. But not in this country. Oh, but it's the poor individual. And big Walmart. Well, big, small means absolutely nothing in moral issue. This is all immoral. They had no morals going into this job, and they still don't, and they display it by getting on TV and vilifying the Walmart company. Or any other company. I don't care if it's Target, Sears, wherever it is. McDonald's, I don't care. Now, I have asked my progressive friends, and I have a lot of progressive friends that drive me absolutely crazy because they make no sense whatsoever, and on issues such as this. And they, of course, Walmart's terrible. I wouldn't even go into Walmart, And I said, let me ask you a question. You have a small company. Would you hire the people that Walmart hires? And they look at me. I'm sorry. They look at me. They go, well, I said, you go to the checkout counters. I mean, you know the skills they have, the way they dress, the way they speak. Would you take that person as your receptionist? I mean, the entry-level job in your company. And the answer is always either they're totally silent, right, which is a confirmed no, or they say, well, no, not really. They dance around the no. So I said, wait a minute. Walmart's not the bad guy. You're the bad guy. You won't hire them. How dare you? You selfish, unfeeling SOB. Walmart is doing when I say Walmart, I mean all of them. I say Walmart, I mean everybody. It's doing society a service. Now, what these people should be doing is taking the job at Walmart, but they can't afford it. They have 3 kids, and they have a thing, and their husband left them, well, that's not my problem. They should go to their family and say, I have a problem. I've screwed up about 19 times in a row. One more time, I'm going to starve to death. And if they starve to death, folks, I hate to tell you this, not my problem. It's a moral issue that they should have addressed many, many, many years ago. It's like I become a drug addict for years and years and years, and then I want to blame society because I can't get off the drugs. Oh, no. Society had nothing to do with that, folks. It was me, my decision. And people have plenty of opportunities when they're in school and after graduating school when they're free, when they don't have big families and whatever, to develop something. And folks, I mean anything. I've known people, and listen, I'm not anti anything. You know that. I come from Harlem, and I'll repeat this 1,000 times. I was the first singing group to be fully integrated. We had Freddie was black lead, and I was Puerto Rican second tenor. My father disinherited me. So I'm colorblind. I'll be honest. I'm one of the original colorblind people in the United States. And I'm just saying that when people do this to themselves, they have to take responsibility and say, hey, I have no physical means of support. However, the real bad guy is not only themselves, but the government. Because the one thing that you can do that destroys anybody, the one thing that you can do to anyone to absolutely destroy them, and I talk to parents about this all the time, it's one of my favorite subjects, is enabling people. If be an enabler, you will destroy a person. You want to destroy your children? Be an enabler. I tell everyone, the only time I give to my kids is when I want to give to them. I never give to them when they need it. Because they're not kids anymore. That's why I say that. I don't mean 5-year-olds. I mean when they grow up. If now my sons need something, and they need it, they better find a way to pay for it, to get the money. Because if I give them the money, I'm enabling them, and then they become what? They become
codependent.
Codependent on me. Yeah. Thank you very much. A word got stuck. Yeah. And that's how you destroy an individual, when you make them your slave in a way. And believe me, I've known several people who have done this. Wonderful people, but they have to do for their kids. And their kids wind up in jail. They're on drugs. Horrible situations. Now, what does the government do? The government does the same thing. The government says, well, no, don't be responsible. Wait, guys, come on. You're being responsible now. That's not good, because it gives you a disease. Just if you're doing, you can't make, come over here and we'll give you some extra money. Oh, we'll give you not food stamps, you get now a credit card, where you can buy food. Or we'll give you assistance, we'll give you this, the government enables people to destroy themselves. But Walmart's the bad guy. I don't understand that. How could Walmart be the bad guy? Walmart's the only one stepping up, saying, hey, wait, I want to give this person an opportunity to learn something, to prove that they're the best employee in the entire shop, and they will get a promotion. And they will make $15 an hour. It may take them a few years, but they'll make it. And they'll have something that they're proud of, something that their children are proud of. But no, not our government. No, please, don't succeed. Don't succeed. Because if you succeed, what do? You divorce yourself from the government. You say, I don't need the government. I'm an individual. I can make it. I did some stupid things in my life, and we all have, and I have too, folks. Believe me, I will never admit the stupid things I did because they're so embarrassing. I want to forget them. I want to get my brain washed out. But we've all done stupid things. But there are those who say, all right, it's time to square away, forget that stuff, and start over again. And there's those that can say, well, I got an easy way out. I guess I'll go on welfare, I'll go on food stamps, I'll go on programs, or whatever, or get a government-subsidized job. It's a moral issue. Stay with us. We're going to take a hard break now, right? Yeah, but please stay with us. We're going to finish this up. I hear that comment that, Walmart makes billions of dollars. They make billions and billions of dollars, and they only pay those people $7.25 an hour. I think that's a travesty that they only pay, only $7.25. They make billions, those bums. How dare they? They make billions. Well, let me ask you a question, mister. Let's assume for a second Walmart lost money one year. Let's assume that they didn't make billions one year. Things got really bad. They made no money. They were the losing column. Does that mean everyone should forfeit their salary? Think about it. If you based wages on how much a company makes, that knife cuts both ways. They make a lot of money, you make a lot of money. The company doesn't make a lot of money, you don't get paid. And you should be happy about that. That's the agreement. But they say, no, because, they'll fudge the... don't go there. You can't have it both ways. And do you want a country where the government is dictating wages? I mean, they're dictating wages now with the minimum wage, which I think is a travesty in itself. And now you want them to go company by company by company? What happens with the oil companies then? Oil companies make tons of money. They make billions. And not everyone makes a good salary at oil company. Well, then are they going to go by company, industry by industry? And when they say living wage, how do they dictate how do they calculate a living wage? What's a living wage for one person is starvation for another. In fact, today the minimum wage is also referred to by the progressives as the starvation wage. And they're right, if you're family. Now, another thing about the Walmart jobs is that they were never intended to be jobs for heads of household. Back in the old days, I know I go back in the old days very often, when you went to a grocery store, and it wasn't a big thing like Walmart, it was a mini Walmart, it was a small place, and there would be the owner there, and who else would be working behind the counter or sweeping the floors or doing things or working the shelves? Who would that person be? For you guys who are older and remember those days, it would be some high school kid, right? Someone working part-time, stocking shelves and doing that, making really pittance at the time. But they were gaining some experience in the workplace. They had a job. They showed that they were reliable. And that's how they built up their resume. Was that job back, if we're going to play this game that Walmart owes them a living wage, whatever that means. And by the way, a woman with 2 or 3 children, they need to make about $35 an hour, not $15 an hour to break even. Put that on the table. But back then, did anyone say to, like there was a Morris grocery store downstairs from me in Harlem. My apartment was right above Morris, right off, but right down from Morris. I used to walk downstairs, walk about 4 or 5 steps, walk into the grocery store. And by the way, he was a nasty SOB. But anyway, and we used to buy our stuff there, right? And there used to be a kid working there. Well, there was a kid working there. That's what the job was. The only difference between Morris and Walmart is that Walmart is bigger, but the job is the same. Their checkouts, they stock the shelves, same job. What if someone said, well, when I graduate high school, I'm gonna apply for a job in Morris grocery store? They would look at you and say, are you kidding me? Are you nuts? But today, people say, well, when I graduate high school or I get thrown out, I'm going to apply for Walmart and then protest that they don't make me enough money. They don't pay enough money. This is all a moral issue. It has nothing to do with economics. People have a responsibility to themselves. The government doesn't have it. I don't have it for them. They have it. And if they are irresponsible, guess what? They must suffer the consequences. Well, what about their children? Well, then they have to provide for the children somehow. Other parents have to take them in. Their mother or father have to take them in. Their church has to help out. They have to fight. They should have thought of that. You see, when things are going sort of pretty well and they're just skimming by, people under the assumption they have this normalcy bias that, oh, geez, well, I can do this and I can buy that and I can make payments on this. Not thinking that what if And here we go with the negative attitude type thing. I have a negative attitude. I should go to a positive attitude seminar. Okay, crap. That's what we're doing today. We go to positive attitude seminars so that we don't learn to think, right? But what happens, just like my grandfather always was planning, what if something didn't happen? What if you went out to eat and didn't eat? He planned for that. And that's how he survived. And that was the right way to do it. He was responsible for himself. He didn't go out to eat and then blame the other person that there was not enough food to eat. He knew there was going to be not enough food. And he knew there was a good chance of that happening. So he planned for it. Well, just like the people who are applying for Walmart, a job at Walmart or the like, should be saying to themselves, what if I get this job at Walmart, and something happens, anything, someone gets sick, I get, my car breaks down or anything, I can't pay for anything. They have to account for that. How is the government going to account for each person and each individual situation? Not possible, other than if they give away gobs and gobs of money. And that money, and that will come from Walmart, that'll come out of your pocket and my pocket, and I don't want to enable anyone. I don't want to destroy someone's lives by enabling them. There's the moral issue. I'd like to hear what you have to say. 855-866-1170. Come on, I'm sure people are going to disagree with me. 855-866-1170. All right, now let's go. Let's play the game of what happens if they raise it to $15 an hour. All right, that next day. Now Walmart has to pay $15 an hour, but there's another store down the road that's not as big as Walmart, but a competitive Walmart. They're paying $7.25 an hour. Now what? Is the government now going to do a cost analysis? What are they going to do? They say, wait a minute. That's discrimination. The government puts people away in jail for discrimination. Now the government is discriminating and said, but it's all right. Now, let's assume you have $15 an hour, right? Now, there's a person who started there many years ago at $6 an hour and now making $15 an hour, worked themselves up to a supervisor position, a low-level supervisor, like a floor supervisor, a section supervisor, whatever they called them. And that person started at $6 an hour and now is making $15. And proud of it. And they're doing very well, and they intend to become a large-scale supervisor and a manager someday and making good money. And now the supervisor is actually getting good benefits. They have stock option plans, all this other stuff. And all of a sudden, people start coming in right off the street, making $15 an hour. How would you feel? Just think about that. You've worked your tush off to be the best you can be, and you're making $15, and you are proud of it. And now, anyone right off the street with no skills, no nothing, that's by the way, in training. They're not even working. They're just being trained, making $15 an hour, and you have to train them. How would you like that? How is that for fairness? That person make $15 an hour may quit. And that person knows a lot. And now you have to train somebody to fill that shoes. You see how you disrupt the entire situation. And where do they get 15 from? I mean, if the government's going to dictate a salary, hey, forget the 15. Why not 25? No. Hey, I'm being silly. Why not $35 an hour? Let's start everyone off at $35 an hour. And you know what answer I get for that? Oh, that's ridiculous, Joe. You're always so extreme, Yeah. You're 35 is too much. Well, how do you know 35 is too much and 15 is okay? How do you know that? Well, you don't. I don't. What dictates that is the free marketplace, and when a person applies for a job, that is a voluntary transaction between two people. No one has a gun saying you have to get this job or anything like that. It's voluntary transaction. And they accept the job at that pay, period. Now, they can complain all they want. They say, well, don't you have a job paying $15 an hour? They say, oh, yes, we do. It's a logistics person, blah, 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 blah. And here this is the qualifications you need for this job. And actually, it pays $18.50 to start. and the person looks at the qualifications, they have none. But the government says now you have to pay them that salary because it's a living wage. Is in fact the company's responsibility. The company's going to business, and there's people out here listening to me right now who are in business for themselves. All right, did you go into business to provide people with a living wage, whatever that's supposed to mean? Answer that question. Did you go into business to provide people with a living wage? That's the objective. No, you didn't. You went there to make a profit. And if someone came to your business and you absolutely knew that this person can generate more profits for your company and they're worth it, you will pay that amount of money. And it won't be $15 an hour. Maybe $100 an hour because they're bringing in $300 an hour. Stay with us. We'll go for a short break and stay there and come back with us. Let's follow this scenario through one more time. This is like a classroom. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's
a
great class.
Yeah,
I'm loving it.
I'm going to charge money for this,
Yeah.
Anyone listening, got to send me $50.
No tuition for this class either. Yeah.
I was speaking to a guy who was worked at a car dealership, and we were talking about it, and he was talking about why he wanted to make more money. I said, let me be honest with you. I always wanted to sell cars, but I never got around to taking that job. And he said, well, you don't make too much money here. I said, are you kidding me? I said, I make a fortune in selling cars. He says, how? I said, first of all, I would go to a place where there's a lot of large dealerships, like, Nissan and Hyundai and Honda and all that stuff, and Toyota and all that. And I'd go in for a job, and I'd apply for a job, and these are the conditions. I will work here if you give me a starter bonus of $250,000. And I never get this young fellow looked at me and says, what are you kidding me? What are you saying that for? I said, I'll work for them provided they start by giving me my first bonus check, $250,000. Of course, that's gross. I have to pay taxes out of that, $250,000. And he couldn't understand that. He says, well, why would they give that to you? Why would they give it to you? That's stupid. I said, you know why, kid? Let me tell you. Because if they don't give me the $250,000, I'll take a job across the street. And they damn well know that if I take the job across the street, that $250,000 would have been the best investment they made. See what I mean? You see, I know enough people in this town. I can sell more cars than anybody ever sold in their life. And car dealerships would love to have me on their lot. Love to have me. I wouldn't be sitting there like these other clowns do all day, smoking cigarettes, waiting for someone to come in. I'd be out there. I'd be hustling all day long. Because what I do, if you don't want me, that's fine. I'll go across the street and I'll suck all those customers over with me. But see, I had something to offer. I didn't get this. I was involved this way. It's many years of experience. And now, let me give you another example. I have a company, and I would love to hire more people. But it's $7.25 an hour. Plus, I have to train them for 3 weeks. And what's the guarantee they're going to stay? I've hired people before. They come on, we spend, and it's not so much the $7.25 an hour, but you're taking another technician off their job. They're going out. There's a lot of expenses. I mean, it's costing you a lot of money. And then after 2.5 weeks, they go, well, I don't think I'm going to work here anymore. The government doesn't give me that money back. So I am reluctant. Now, let me give you another scenario. Let's assume for a second there is no minimum wage. And let's say, and I'm going to pick a kid, a minority from the ghetto, right? Just for illustration. He comes to me and says, Mr. Christian, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll work here 3 weeks. Don't pay me anything. You want to pay me something? That's up to you. But I will guarantee you that at the end of 3 weeks, you will be happy that I ever came here. You will know that you cannot do without me, and if you let me leave, you will, worst mistake you'll ever make. You'll regret it for the rest of your life. Would I take that kid on? You bet I would. You see how a job got created, right? Now, would I make him work for nothing? No, I wouldn't make him work for nothing. I mean, I don't know how much I would pay him, but I would test him to see how good he is. And at the end of 3 weeks, I may say, man, you're good. I may start him at $20 an hour. I pay triple the minimum wage now for new people. But yet, because the government says you have to start him, he came over and said, "Kid, I'll be honest with you, I can't take the gamble because I can't take other technicians off the job. I can't pay you, and then all the taxes I got to pay on the benefits, all that stuff. I can't do that. And then when you leave, and then I got to fight the Employment Commission. Too much work. Forget about it. Get out of here, kid. Don't bother me." You see how the government destroys jobs? Folks, you got to look behind the curtain. You're looking at a play on television, right? And you're empathizing with the people on the stage as if they're real, as if that is the end all, like you're getting all the information from which you can make a decision. When you're looking at the stage, you're looking at a play, and it's all false. The only real part of the play are the people behind the curtain, the people doing all the work. And you want something, folks? They don't get any credit, but they make the play work. You see, we should all be the people behind the curtain. We should be making things work. I don't know if you worked for a company and they decide to change the minimum wage $15 an hour. You say, well, they would have to change the other salaries accordingly. Well, what you did is you took the minimum wage from 17 to 15. Let's say you more than doubled the minimum wage. That means a person making $15 an hour, you would have to at least double that. So that person would be working, let's say, from $15 an hour. Now that person's making $31 an hour. I mean, got to be fair. Everything's on a percentage basis. You got to be fair, right? Right. And then what about the person making $45 an hour? Well, now this person be making close to $100 an hour. Now, once you start doing that, and you have the millions upon billions upon billions of extra salary, what's going to happen to the price of the products? Right. By the way, I have the whole studio here. I've got bunches of people. I didn't introduce any. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah,
One,
my
two,
gosh,
three,
it's
four,
just
five,
like a
six.
studio
Yeah,
audience
six,
you'd see back in the old days.
That's right. Yeah,
like
but
the Fred Allen
someone
show
wants to make
or
a comment.
something.
Yeah.
Well, it would put a lot of the it would put a lot of the small business owners in a big risk for their own salary. They wouldn't be able to pay themselves as much as they would be. They'd be paying their employees basically more than they'd be paying themselves.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and believe me,
It would
I
wipe
go.
out
Yeah.
small company
Yeah.
owners.
My wife and I had zero salary. And if you don't believe me, go to Social Security Administration. When I applied for Social Security, they said, 2 years, you made no money. I said, what do you mean? I always worked all my life. And then I realized when we started the business, we took zero income. We made zero income for 2 years. We shut everything off. I mean, everything. We drank nothing but water for 2 years.
Yes.
Nothing. I'm not kidding you. In fact, the first time we went out to eat, we went to the, which is not there anymore. We went to the, what's that restaurant on 61st and Sheridan? The Full Moon.
Yeah.
Full Moon. And I can tell you what we ate. The first meal we ever had out together after this, starvation thing, we had the endless soup and salad for $3.99. And let me tell you something. We ate like pigs.
Yeah, I bet you devoured that.
No, really.
Yeah.
But this is what people are not doing. They're still going, and they're enormously biased. We do the same thing that we've always done. And then when it doesn't work their way, they want someone else to bail them out. This is a moral issue and not an economic issue. What about the poor guy who has someone working for him? He's a good employee, and he pays $9 an hour, which is sort of good salary for just general stuff in the store. But Walmart now is paying $15. Kid quits. Now we can't. Now, in order to keep a kid, doing that, he has to pay $15 an hour. Well, he's a small business owner. That is a burden on him. What is the government going to do to that guy? Why is the government fixing prices? Immoral. Anti-laissez-faire. Anti-free enterprise. But we say, we only think about the people on the stage. We empathize with the people on stage. Oh, but look at the person. They need the money because they have 3 children and they don't have a means of support. That's not the issue.
They can always clean houses for a second job for some friends or family.
Absolutely. Years I've
done it.
Well, I got from our homeowners association. My wife is here, by the way, and she's smiling because she knows what I'm going to say. My homeowners association sent out a bulletin to everybody in the neighborhood and said, does anyone do any ironing anymore? Let me tell you something. Now, my wife stays with me for one reason. I do the ironing. I'll be honest with you. If I stop doing the
Are you
ironing,
serious?
she's going, yeah, I do the ironing.
You do the ironing?
And I'm good.
We need
And
to
I
have
was-
ironing
I
tips
was
with Joe.
I was tempted. I tell you, I was tempted to say, yeah, I do ironing. How much do you pay? I was tempted to do that. But you're right. You know, there are things done today that you can make excellent money doing that that are outside of the normal system.
And probably above a minimum wage.
Yeah. You want to do something? How about baking cakes for like kids' birthday parties, stuff like that? I mean, there is good money, a lot more than $7.25 an hour, and you can do that at home.
What'd you say?
There's tons of things. I'm sorry, what'd you say, sweetheart?
Well, you can make wedding cakes. I mean, you could go on. I mean, dog biscuits, natural, anything. I mean, but that's where the small corporations are, is in those small, tedious jobs that nobody ever really does, and they would be, self-employed at that point.
Absolutely. There's a million things you can do. A million, other than where, you see, if they say, well, Walmart doesn't hire me, what's the default? I don't work at all. No. You see, and that's a moral issue, not an economic issue. They elect not to work. They elect not to do anything. I mean, geez, if I do the ironing, they can do the ironing. I have about 4 or 5 women in the neighborhood that want to marry me, right? Because of that. It's amazing. I tell you, they follow me around. It's amazing. Well, folks, this is the end of today's broadcast. We haven't had any call-ins, but we appreciate you listening in. I hope you did listen in and send me your comments at libertytalkradio.com. Tell me if I'm absolutely out of my mind or maybe I made some sense, okay? All right, thanks for listening to Liberty Talk Radio. This is Joe Cristiano. Stay well, stay tuned.